Hello, my name is Gavin, and in this video we're going to fix an Italian vintage synthesizer. It's from 1980, it's the Ekosynth P15. I decided to purchase the synthesizer and I talked back and forth with a guy called Philip. Philip told me that certain keys were working and it was making sound. The vibrato on the keyboard wasn't working. That it's making a sound was a good thing, and Philip then went on to tell me that he tried to get it fixed and nobody in Vienna would actually touch this and said it was too delicate. So I decided to meet up with him. He was so kind to actually bring the synthesizer to Graz, and when we met at the train station, he reluctantly handed over the synthesizer. He was sad to let it go. I think he really wanted to make this thing work. Yeah, it is so, and hopefully I can make it work. Let's see. That's what this video is about. The P15 means it's got 15 presets and it sounds amazing. However, it's not working, and I've just bought this synth and I'm going to try and repair it, and hopefully you'll be inspired to learn a bit about this synthesizer. Also, how to repair your own synthesizers if you are that way inclined, or you're just here for a crazy ride into total geekdom of synthesizer madness. And I'm going to show you the inside of this synthesizer. I'm going to play some tunes from the synthesizer, and I'm going to hopefully repair it. That is the plan. I have no idea if I will get there, but we're going to try it. So first up, Eko. This company made guitars for pretty much anybody in the 50s, 60s, 70s. That's what they're famous for. They still make guitars, and at some point they started to make electronic instruments, organs, and then on synthesizers and drum machines. They sold that section of the company to a company called Farissa, and that's what happened in 1975, while this synthesizer was made in 1979. One I have is around 1980 when I look at the chips and what year they were manufactured in. The chips inside this synthesizer are mainly MOS chips, metal oxide silicon chips, and CMOS chips. When I was a teenager, I built these circuits like latches and flip-flops and counters and oscillators from this little book from R.A. Penfold. I think it was 50 CMOS projects, and I really enjoyed it. And when I looked at the circuit diagram of the Ekosynth, I realized that some of that technology was right in there. So I said, I might be well able to fix this synthesizer. There was some NAND gates and some other little pieces in there, especially for the keyboard logic. And that's where I'm going to just talk about what the state of this synthesizer is at the moment. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about repairing your own synthesizer, or how to approach it. So in my case, some of the keys are working and some of them are not. So I've got mainly all the white keys of one octave is working, and one of the black keys, and sometimes there's a few more black keys working, and then up the top of the keyboard is not working at all. And yeah, it's basically there's some parts of the keyboard, and I suspect there's some problems with the logic, and that's what I will tackle first before I would actually go near the actual organ chip, the tone organ generator chip, the TOG chip, because that chip is what's rare in this synthesizer, and most synthesizers of this time, especially these organ type based in the 70s. They're hard to find and hard to source. There is, of course, replacements using FPGA technology, field programmable gate arrays, I believe that's what it is. And there's a company in the UK, I think it's called Flat Keys, that does that. But hopefully I won't need to do that, but we'll see. We're going to do the logic first on the synthesizer. Bear in mind, these chips are over 40 years and they have not been touched at all. And when I opened it up, now this is absolutely beautiful inside. And it goes to show the craftsmanship of how this synthesizer was made. And you've got to bear in mind that Eko was a company that made guitars and guitar amplifiers. So their woodwork department actually made the cases for their pianos and their synthesizers and their organs. So that came about that the metal panels had hinges on them, and that would open up, and you would have the whole boards laid out in front of you with a wiring loom, and there's even a circuit diagram stapled to the inside of that of this synthesizer, and it's still there, which was super impressive when I opened it up and I go, this is absolutely beautiful. And they certainly do not make electronic products like this anymore. Those days are certainly gone. So that was really impressive for me to see such craftsmanship. And the name of the guy who actually built this synthesizer is right in there. So this was hand built. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is probably going to be repairable. And all the little chips inside are in dip sockets. So that means they can be extracted out by basically putting a small screwdriver or a little thing to pull out those chips inside on the circuit boards inside the synthesizer. So it was designed to be repaired. So if the chips can be replaced and the logic chips aren't that expensive, I'm going to start with this. And then once that works, or if it gets further, I'm going to try and resit some of the chips, the more expensive chips or the more rare chips. And there is 2 rare chips in this synthesizer. There's the SAA 1005P, and this is a 7-stage divider chip. This is super rare. I don't even know if I'm going to find a replacement for that one. And then there's the TOG chip, which is the S50242 chip, and that is responsible for making the tones. A 2 megahertz signal goes into that, and it's split into 12 tones that make up the keyboard sound. Now, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, well, the sound is coming through, so it must be working, and it could be that it's partially working. Reading a bit about how those chips work, the octave is then divided down, and there's a number of ways and a number of chips that do that, and the CMOS chips could be responsible for that. I think there's a 4500 chip that might be the culprit in this case. So it's a mixture of things that could be wrong here in the logic, and that's where I'm going to tackle it. So I mean, the logic chips are costing, I don't know, maybe about €10 so it's a no-brainer to just put out those chips and put in new ones. But bear in mind, there's oxidation on the pins of the chips and on the socket over time. That's kind of natural, and that could also be the problem. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride, to be honest. I'm dead excited about it. I didn't expect myself that I would actually go and tackle this, but it's going to make an interesting video nonetheless. I'm so happy that there is sound coming out of this. It's mono, and it's a mono synth, so you can't. It's not. You can only press one key at a time to make the sounds. Some of the features of the Ekosynth P15 is that you have presets, and some of the parts of those presets you can override, and so that's how you would choose a square wave or a sine wave based patch on the synth. It doesn't actually have an oscillator that you can control on the front panel. That's what the presets, which some people may not like that, but it definitely makes incredible sounds out of it. So when I got the machine, and I'm still working on it, these keys aren't working. And then to start working here. And I've replaced a couple of the CMOS chips already now, and the black notes are starting to work. When I originally got it, these two were only working, and sometimes this one was working. Now all three are working. And what also was happening was the C here was, when I pressed it on the C here, was the same. Now the octave is working. So what's not working is this part here. That's not working. So these are all the chips I've taken out. Another set of them over here somewhere. I've got bags of chips, bags of CMOS chips I got for this machine because they're so cheap. These little, I think that are 42s, CMOS chips. I think they're less than €1 each. So yeah, I got a couple of sets of those. So I'm going to just open it up here. So you can just, I've got the screws out at the moment. So the chips, I don't know if you can see that in here, but let's see. And this also opens up. To get this keyboard to lift up, there's 2 screws underneath, one here and here, underneath the machine itself. So let's just lift that up. I got my screwdriver already in here. So I've replaced a couple of chips on this board, this logic board in here. I'll do some close-ups of that at some point, and then I'll put that in. There's another chip there. So there was a couple of logic chips on this, and I've one more. That's my guess, and so far my guesses have been actually right. The 4500 chip was responsible for the scales, and the 4042 was kind of part of the key switching of the keyboard. But I think, I don't know yet, but we'll find out, that the 4012 chip, which is also on that board in there, is also faulty. Well, that's the next bit of repair. So these are the presets, which are working. Trumpet, horn, clarinet, and you can override the presets with manual control here with the VCF. So let's, is there? It's a resonance. Let's slow attack, sustain. So like that. And we can switch our VCA over to manual as well. And let's bring in an LFO. So that's all working very nicely. It's all really nice. What's not working is the vibrato. This is not working yet, so I suspect that could be a 3080 chip, one of the OTAs. And there's bass guitar. Oh, let's just put back to presets. Pan pipes. Oh, the music of the pan pipes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, let's not play the music of the pan pipes. Marimba. Yeah, take it as trombone. But what's really cool is you can just use one of those presets and then switch over to manual control and make your own sound how you like it. and then there's glide, which is portamento, and then you've got your pitch here to tune the instrument. So far I've got quite far with the repair. Just back on that board here, I'm going to... So this is the main board that I've been working on and replacing all the CMOS chips. I just go through some of the chips in here. I'm going to just point them out. I've actually taken the board out. This one here is the rare chip you don't want to touch. That one there is really important. The rest are pretty much logic chips, and what I can say is that these dip sockets, these black dip sockets, are pretty nasty. The white ones are pretty okay. The board looks pretty in good shape. Yeah, here, this one. Okay, so let's talk about this chip here. This was not sitting very well, and this was the reason the vibrato wasn't working. And that's really cool once that's worked. It looks like there's been a bit of work in that already. You can see here there's a bit of soldering. I don't know if that was a problem before, but it just doesn't, that socket looks like it's been replaced, but it's badly been done. Could have been a long time ago. Let's find the other chip here. This is the other rare chip here. Also sitting in one of those dodgy sockets. Very reluctant to replace those, but I've noticed that I've had some intermittent failures, like the black key's not working for some reason, and then I think it might be because of these dip sockets being a bit loose, are just not making good connection at all. So, but I really don't want to start replacing these because it takes a lot of work to do that. I just want to find the ones that are really, not working too well. So that's the whole board. If I flip it over, we have a look in the back. Somebody's done some work here. That's been a long time ago. There's a bit of flux on it. It could have been at the factory, just something that wasn't, failed the quality control. But overall, it looks like there hasn't been any work done on it. Maybe there and maybe on the other side where I pointed out. But over here, because you can see that the solder is a little bit shiny just there. And that chip socket is blue, and the rest are black or white. So I'm suspecting that might have blown in the past. I'm trying to figure out why the first 10 keys don't work. That's been a tricky one, because they come up here. Let me see. And those two pins here, those I think 15 and 16, and then they go into the 4500 chips. They look all okay, but it might be something small that I have missed, and I have to go through that circuit and see what it could be. It could be a transistor, because I'm getting suspicion that when the chip blew, it also blew, something else blew, and it could be that there's a diode not working on the keyboard array. Yeah, it's a tricky one, but that's the board I've been working on. And I've replaced all of the chips on this except the two rare chips, the synthesizer chip and the 8-segment divider chip. Impossible to find. I think there is an FPGA for the synthesizer chip, but yeah, I'm not going to go down that route. It seems like the thing is working anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The tour of the board. Very nice how that comes out. I'm going to put it back in and see if the black keys start working, because I pushed down all of these chips here. There was a little bit of give on them, so I've got a funny feeling they weren't making a connection. So I have the machine kind of upside down to get into this section here where the 10 keys aren't working, and by moving the board a little bit, the connections work. So I need to do some soldering in here. It could be a broken track, could be a poor solder joint. It's kind of tricky to get at. I could just take the whole section off, which is a little bit of a pain, because then you got to put all these things back in, and it's a bit of work to do. But I'm going to try and see if I can figure out which one of these is broken. It's somewhere in there. I'm going to just solder each of those first with some light and see if that fixes it. But my suspicion is that there's a track on the board that might be broken, or at least it's cracked. And I'd say that's by someone slamming on the keys, which happens, of course, and that could be the reason why this is there's a little bit of give in it. I wouldn't mind that, but I'm looking for a pin that's kind of loose, but it's very hard to see. And so Ableton Live is running in the background. Okay, that's clarinet. Okay, let's add some intensity. So, marimba. Manual control. The pan pipes. There is some other ideas for the Eko Synth, the P15. I could add MIDI to it, wouldn't be too hard. I could even make it portable. I mean, it doesn't run that much in terms of current and voltage. I could put 2 Makita batteries on the back of this synthesizer and get it running in a kind of a brute force manner. But if you're kind of interested in seeing some of those hacks, do let me know. The mosquitoes are starting to eat me here. But it's really beautiful out here. So let's get back to the studio. Back to the studio. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've had great fun making this video about the P15 synthesizer from Eko. If you like this content, please let me know, and please put some feedback down below in the comments. Not only does it help the algorithm, but it encourages me to make more videos. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and hope to see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button so you get the latest videos. And yeah, Wow, it's been a hell of a ride.